Does it mean we're now a drug capital? Nice. Oh, excellent. Yes, you can.
For the press conference and got a chance to see this big bust. They were hidden in, what are they called? Pear squash.
Pear
You ever
squash.
heard of pear squash before?
No, I hadn't heard of pear squash.
No,
I was
I
curious
hadn't
about that
either.
picture. I'm like, what the hell's that?
Yeah, pear squash. Hidden the drugs in pear squash. Christophine is what it's called also. Choco.
Huh.
Choko, edible plant belonging to the gourd family. 1,000 pounds of meth. We'll give you the details on this because that was wild. But thank you, Department of Justice, DEA, FBI, local law enforcement, Darren Weekly, there as well. Dude was on Fox yesterday. I don't know if you saw that.
Hey, no, I didn't.
Darren Weekly was on Fox, and then he's down doing the press conference on the largest meth bust in Colorado history. This guy is a rock star. Just one big drug bust after another, thankfully for those guys. Not a lot of evidence of Jared Polis or Phil Weiser being around on those.
That is interesting. That they're not taking the opportunity to be in front of the press.
Yeah. I wonder if they're not invited. The guys, the feds are just like, well, we'll work this out with rock star local talent like Darren Weekly and Steve Reams. We don't need Jarhead or Phil Weiser mucking it all up. Well, we'll give you the latest on that. The Epstein list is starting to come out, and boy, oh boy, the Democrats are going after Republicans. Listen to this. This is Jasmine Crockett.
Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Except for that's not Jeffrey Epstein at all. That's a doctor named Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, according to Lee Zeldin in one thing. I'm not sure about the rest of the people. Yeah, because she said Lee Zeldin steps up and says, no, I took it from a Dr. Jeffrey Epstein. But I'm not sure about, I haven't seen the rest of the people she lists. So did they take it from the actual Jeffrey Epstein or not? Yeah.
Hey, just, if you did, that's definitely newsworthy. But maybe before you go down to the floor of the House of Representatives to make a big speech, you just double check that.
Oh, yeah, they should. Yeah, she's got to walk back later on. And
the weakest walk back ever.
Yeah, but again, there's a part that I'm like, oh, okay, I understand. Because if you listen to the beginning, she does say a person named Jeffrey Epstein. She doesn't say it's like the Jeffrey Epstein. So she is doing the little lawyerly work there, which does give her that out. Yeah, it's bad work on her team's part, and the walk back is kind of silly based on what she says. But yeah, the other part is I want to look at the rest of the people on that list. Are they saying it's Dr. Epstein, not the friend of Trump, or not? Because, yeah, good on Lee Zeldin for pointing it out. I want to wait for the other people to point it out as well.
The
in case.
Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney. NRCC, George Bush, McCain Palin. Welcome to the circus around the Jeffrey Epstein files. We'll get to that as well. Plus, there is a growing battle with Democrats internally here in Colorado. The Opportunity Caucus scandal that the Colorado Sun and Denver Post has exposed. We'll get into that in the 7 o'clock hour. Denver, one of the most sinful cities in America. Surprise, surprise. We'll cover that in the 8 o'clock hour. And then we're going to be joined by Alexandra Vanderpool, Senior Manager of Events and Marketing, City of Littleton, about the Audi Denver Littleton Twilight Criterium coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. So lots of fun today. Now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Good Thursday morning, 36 and cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 52, 45% chance of some rain. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, the bill compelling the release of the Epstein files has been signed by DJT. And 47 says he has a meeting with New York Mayor-elect Kami Dani on Friday. Moron asked for the meeting, which will take place at the Oval Office. Florida Congresswoman Sheila Sherfilis McCormick indicted for ripping off $5 million in FEMA money. FEMA money. Leaders will move to expel her from Congress. And Jeff and Bill will be talking about the big drug bust coming up, as you may have heard. I didn't hear a portion of it. Jeff's mic, I think, was killed or dead there for a second. So Jeff and Billy will be talking about that coming up. Insider stock trading in D.C., Tim Burchett, Tennessee, and the committee exposing a lot of garbage in Congress.
This is, everybody talks about this place being a dadgum swamp. It's not a swamp. A swamp is something cool God created. It filters water. Animal life lives and flourishes around it. This is a sewer. This is created by man, and it needs to stop. We've, for years, Congress has been using hardworking American taxpayers' money to get rich. Dadgum, it's got to stop. America knows what the heck's going on. Everybody wants to knock Pelosi. Heck, she's not even in the top 10.
Wow.
Get on that Unusual Whales site. This is pathetic, folks. We all know what's going on. Congress knows what the hell's going on, and it needs to stop.
Wow. And bipartisan support. So maybe we can all agree on this. My goodness. Denver has begun a major renovation of Civic Center Park. They had a groundbreaking Wednesday. Plans call for a remodel of the Greek Theater and the construction of a plaza dedicated to a group of disabled activists. The first phase of the renovation will only cost $50 million and should be completed by 2027. All right. As Jeff and Bill discussed Wednesday, Denver leading the U.S. when it comes to home value declines. Zillow shows that 91% of homes in the Denver metro area have lost value in the past year. And I thought there was a ceasefire in the Middle East.
Local authorities in Gaza are reporting further deadly Israeli strikes in Khan Yunis as an outbreak of violence that began on Wednesday continues. At least 28 people were killed, including 9 children, in Israeli airstrikes that targeted Khan Yunis as well as the Zaytun and Shijayat neighborhoods of Gaza City on Wednesday. The attacks came after the Israeli military said Hamas violated the ceasefire by firing on soldiers in the Khan Yunis area. No soldiers were injured in the attack that allegedly occurred inside Israeli military-controlled territory. Hamas called the Gaza airstrikes a dangerous escalation. Blake Sifton, Tel Aviv.
Wow, for the love of God. The government has announced it will not be publishing its October jobs report due to the Schumer shutdown, but September's is set to come out today. Dan Bongino confirms the FBI is targeting a dangerous network that has preyed on 11-year-olds and teenagers known as 764 and their affiliates. Quote from Bongino, we have more than 300 investigations connected to this network going on nationwide as we speak, and that number is growing. It is a top priority for us. Bongino has confirmed an arrest in Baltimore. Where is that close to? Let's see. Man, I can't think where the nation's capital is in comparison to Baltimore. And another indictment in Arizona. Nuggets at New Orleans last night.
You're there by JJ.
Behind the back, Watson throws it down. What a night for Peyton Watson.
He bounced past that before Peyton broke the free throw line.
One more look.
Yeah,
boom
that
goes
thing.
the dynamite.
Oh, my goodness. Thanks a lot, Chris and Scotty, on that one. A bounce pass behind his back. Nikola Jokic, a big dude, making a pass like that. Incredible. If you see the video, man, it's beautiful. Let's see. Peyton Watson had a career-high 32. Jokic with yet another triple-double. 125, 118 Nuggets win. 35 in Englewood, 34 in Lakewood, 36 in Denver. You are waking up with Jeff and Bill on a Thursday. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
A pleasant, mild day on this Wednesday. Temperatures in Denver will reach the low to mid-60s, a mix of high clouds and sun, 30s tonight. Increasingly cloudy, cooler Thursday, highs lower 50s early in the day, turning colder later on with developing showers. Areas of rain and snow mix developing Thursday night, continuing into the day Friday, and cooler. 30s Thursday night, temperatures on Friday only making the 40s. There'll be accumulating snow in the higher elevations and foothills. Temperatures will remain cool, but conditions dry for the weekend. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Bill, can I just tell you how much I love it that we got heifer sales
I enjoy
advertisements on our show?
I enjoy that.
It's so awesome.
I know. It's one of my favorite advertisements we have during the show. I love that. That and the big R stores. Love that one, too.
Yeah, the hunting reports.
Yes, love those.
By the way, we're going to be adding the gun room here in Denver.
Hey, that's
as a
right.
new
Gotta record some stuff
advertiser
for 'em.
coming up, which is just, golly, in the midst of all the stupidity happening in Colorado, to talk ranching, hunting, guns. It's nice. It's refreshing.
Yeah.
Speaking of stupidity, big old meth bust. 1,000 pounds. United States Attorney for the District of Colorado announcing that 15 individuals were indicted by a federal grand jury in connection with the largest meth seizure in Colorado history. Just a reminder, this is the second announcement this week for record drug seizures. Great. Well done, Colorado. One defendant is facing the so-called drug kingpin charge as an alleged leader of a drug trafficking organization. They list out all the names of these guys in this press release. A lot of them, 15 of them, 11 of the defendants are in federal custody, while the remaining 4 are believed to remain in Mexico. They're all part of a drug cartel. As detailed in the complaint, federal wiretaps, extensive surveillance, undercover operations, and swift enforcement efforts led to the seizure of more than 1,000 pounds of meth linked to this organization, including the following. In December of 2024, agents seized 96 pounds of meth from a member of the organization on a Greyhound bus in Vail. Didn't know Greyhound buses went up to Vail.
I'm surprised it's Greyhound. And it's not like Rolls-Royce is sending buses to Vail. Yes. Bentley
Especially
sponsored
got
buses.
96 pounds of meth going
yeah,
there.
exactly. I'm just surprised that I'm thinking, who's riding a Greyhound to Vail? Who's making the economy choice in order to get to that mountain town? You
ever ridden a bus before? Greyhound?
Yes. Oh, yes, I have, my friend. Oh, yes, I have. Have you?
It's something you tend to do only once in your life.
Yes, that is true.
we were in college and we're like, God, let's just take the bus to San Diego.
Yeah.
And from Santa Barbara right through the L.A. bus terminal. And we were with a bunch of us college students, boys, girls, all that stuff. And you're just like, we've put these young college girls around a bunch of dudes just getting out of the clink.
Yeah, oh my God. I wrote it having some car trouble at time during college. And so had to jump the Greyhound in order to get back home and ride that. And that's an experience, you're right. You only do that once. After that one ticket, I'm like, maybe I don't have to come home as often if the car's not working, kind of a thing. It was so bad. It was awful. I mean, you get on the bus and you look around and you're like, you start looking for that number for America's Most Wanted. And you're like, I think I found everyone. This bus, all of them are here. That's what it feels like. It's ridiculous.
But you remember there was like a few years ago where some guy just decapitated a dude on a bus.
Just in the bus. Yeah,
right,
like,
just randomly.
What? Yeah, that was a rough ride. And then once, getting downtown to the Denver bus station, finding out, it seems it's not really that convenient then to try to get to the house after and other things. Right. And so, it wasn't it wasn't nearly the smart choice I thought it was. No, not at all.
In February of 2025, 101 pounds of meth and a half of kilograms of fentanyl powder were seized from another member of the organization on a highway in Colorado. In April of 2025, over 700 pounds of methamphetamine were seized from a residence in Lakewood, Colorado, along with freezers, propane tanks, and other equipment consistent with meth manufacturing or conversion. Investigators found thousands of packages of meth concealed in the corners of containers of fruit. That's where it's the pear squash pictures that they had yesterday. In August of 2025, nearly 50 pounds of meth was seized from a residence in Arvada, Colorado. All 15 defendants face drug charges, which carry a potential sentence of no less than 10 years and up to life in prison. 4 of the defenders are charged with money laundering, which carries a potential sentence of up to 20 years in prison. They're operating with a continuing criminal enterprise, commonly known as the drug kingpin charge. This charge carries a mandatory minimum sentence of 20 years and up to life in prison. A lot of these guys were connected with Sinaloa cartels coming out of Mexico. So what do you think's happening to Colorado? You've got cartel activity. I mean, record level drug cartel activity taking place in Colorado. Even though you have stricter border enforcement, you're getting this type of record Mexican drug cartel activity taking place. What does that tell you, Bill?
A couple of things. One, it's part of it is geographic location for Denver. And this is something, and as weird it is, this is something that is true in the music industry. And so it's also true necessarily in the drug industry, that you basically have Dallas, Houston, or Denver. That's the large metros that you have going from the East Coast to the West Coast. And so that's why you get tour stops that are going to hit one or both of those when they go from one side of the country to the other. It also then makes sense based on distribution. I've talked to some truckers about the same thing, that this makes a lot of sense for geographical distribution. One of the largest hubs for seafood distribution is here because how easy it is to get immediately to the West Coast and then part of the way towards the East Coast. So that's what it is in part as far as volume, I believe. But also I do believe that it is appetite as well, that we have a large appetite for the drugs, and especially, for the things like meth. I mean, I hate to say it, and even the idea of what makes fentanyl so attractive is in part because of economic conditions, that you have to play with some of the cheaper alternatives. They're not going out there, and you're noticing this isn't like a giant bust of like grade A Bolivian Coke. That's not. We're getting the chemical stuff. We're getting the things that can be cut and put together and concocted in one way or another. And, we talked with the DEA agents that part of the reason that fentanyl is so big is because it's inexpensive and they can use it as filler in other drugs. And sometimes, because they're amateur chemists, that filler kills people. That's part of it. And meth, of course. I mean, meth's the bottom of the bottom of the bottom as far as what you're looking at. That is, that is the low end product. And if we are seeing something that is this large, looking at the low end product, that also to me tells us where that culture is and what they're doing, because they're gonna buy their drugs. And so what happens there? Also, I think it's a good question about border enforcement and drug enforcement. And I always pushed back on the idea that we had these young Mexican men, and who was it? Who was the representative that talked about huge calves that they have because they carry these 100-pound bags of drugs across the board? No, they weren't. That is so labor intensive and inefficient. No, these things were coming in larger shipments, in part the drug boats, where they come into the coast and then you unload them that way. You need larger shipments. Also, tunnels. That they have it. This is a big enough business. They run tunnels and other ways to get in, or they run it through cars. The vast majority of people that statistically get pinched smuggling drugs into America are Americans, because it's easier to get the Americans through the American border. There aren't as many questions about what the Americans are doing coming home. So the idea of drug mules. So not necessarily that unexpected that this drive is still there, that this is what we want. And it's also kind of a reflection, I think, on the economy, but also where Denver is. And I think that it's a wake-up call for many people in Denver, because there are a lot of us, like you and I, Jeff, that have been here for years, that still understand Denver suffered for many years with that reputation of being a cow town, that we were looked at as, yeah, it's a city, but they're still kind of backwards. They're not really that important. But this tends to tell a different story, tells a different story about us not necessarily being this backwoods, rural country, kind of a city, don't know what we're doing, howdy doody kids, kind of a thing, where no, there actually is a lot of commerce, even illegal commerce, that is running through here. And that if you, as an individual, think that your family is protected from the influence of these kind of gangs and these kind of drugs simply because you're in Denver, unfortunately, you're mistaken. And that sucks. And we hate to be the person that pulls back that curtain on your day this morning at 6:23, but that's the city that we're living in right now. Geographically and economically, that's where we are. And it sucks.
So what you didn't see there was the state administration. Jared Polis, Phil Weiser, they're not a part of either of these busts. I think that sends a very strong message, okay? Now, granted, the first bust, you did see CBI, Colorado Bureau of Investigation, but you're not seeing Jared Polis. You're not seeing Phil Weiser. That's in part because they're weak on crime, pro-crime, in my perspective. Pro-drug culture is helping facilitate this, and the feds are getting frustrated with it. Okay?
Got a question for you on that. I think you hit on something real quickly. Phil Weiser, I think that's very insightful when you were talking about it. And apart from, your opinion on him necessarily being pro-crime, I just think is misguided. And so I might even be able to get to you on the idea of the ignoring of the crime. But why isn't he in front of the cameras when he wants to be governor? This type of a bust, the largest meth bust ever in Colorado, he could get up in front of a camera and say, and we are going to hold them, responsible for this and keep the community safer. And why isn't he using this as a campaign opportunity in your mind? Or is it what you were saying earlier? They don't want him there and didn't ask him. He didn't get an invite. What do you think?
I don't think he got an invite.
I think it's probably correct on that one.
Which was interesting because you had a lot of law enforcement there. You had Adams County, Arvada, Douglas County. You not only had the sheriffs up front, Bill, but behind me, you had about 4 rows of media, and then you had about 10 rows of local law enforcement, all filled.
Ooh.
So all the detectives were there. All the sergeants were there that helped make these busts. It was a big moment of celebration. Phil Weiser, who loves to brag about his lawsuits against Donald Trump. We're at north of 40 at this point right now. Not at either of those two press conferences.
Now, here's the thing. I think you and I, again, we admit we are making an assumption about why Professor
Correct.
Phil wasn't there. We open say that it's an assumption, but it does seem to make sense that rather, because this is the largest drug bust in Colorado history, if you are running for governor and you have something else on your schedule and you have an opportunity to stand in front of TV cameras, radio reporters, and print reporters and talk about this.
Oh,
knowing
spike the football, baby!
And knowing that you are going to be one of the highest profile names at that press conference, so the chances of your quote being used inside of the news story or your video being used inside of the news story is very high. You've got a really big chance at your clip being used inside of the news package, giving you more credibility on the issue. If it's me, I clear my schedule and I show up. That's why I think you're right
Phil,
that he's not invited.
Even to that point, even if you weren't invited, this was public knowledge if you were on the press distribution of the FBI, DOJ little email list.
Yeah.
They didn't like hide this. It wasn't like, meet over at this place at 5. No. This was sent out to every media. Every media outlet was out there.
We got whispers about it before it dropped.
Yeah,
People
right.
said, hey, something's coming up, just pay
it wasn't
attention.
a secret.
They didn't give us any news, but they just said something's coming up, pay attention for the press release, yeah.
If Phil Weiser or Jared Polis were real leaders, right? I don't think a real leader always has to be in front of the camera.
No.
But you have law enforcement getting together to celebrate big busts that are going to save the lives of Coloradans.
Yeah.
You show up anyways to shake hands and thank the guys.
Yeah. Here's
who did
something
it,
else.
And the ladies.
Here's something else that I think we can read into it. Again, understand, Jeff and Bill listeners, that we are completely and totally making assumptions without any basis in fact. So we are just guessing about this. But personally, from where I sit, the fact that there were so many members of law enforcement there and Weiser wasn't, I personally, just me, I am personally reading into it a lack of support for Weiser from law enforcement, because there are enough people with badges and credentials and high-ranking officers there and officials that if it was important to have the guy running for governor, the guy that is supposed to be the top law enforcement officer in the state, one of them, if they thought it was important, I am just guessing, would raise their hand and make a phone call or ask, shouldn't he be here? But yet you talk about all the members of law enforcement, and that is a noticeable absence, that the Attorney General of Colorado isn't there to talk about the largest drug bust in Colorado, and especially the fact that one of the people is going to be charged as a drug kingpin. That is a significant arrest, a significant charge, and there are enough people in that room that have Professor Phil's email address and his cell phone. And I'm curious if any of them made the phone call. I'm guessing no.
I think it's important to bring into this conversation as well the fact that we are a sanctuary state. And if you talk to law enforcement, the fact that the feds and the locals can't coordinate on illegal immigration operations that are taking place. And in fact, if you do, if you're a local law enforcement and you happen to tip off the feds that some of these guys are here illegally, the Attorney General's office will investigate you, the local law enforcement guy, for even texting with the feds. So there is a lot of brokenness. There's a lot of frustration between law enforcement with what these sanctuary state policies have done. And when these big busts happen, you don't see the AG or the governor anywhere near it. Fascinating. All right. Feel free to join the conversation. 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. All right, let's talk Gyrie's. We've had an absolutely wonderful experience with Gyrie's improving our home. They have an incredible selection of Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters. Look, I'm not a big home improvement guy. Can't just go to Home Depot and pick it all out and make my house nice. I need help. I admit it. I need help. And I got it with Gyrie's. They were wonderful, walked us through everything and helped us find perfect options to enhance the look and functionality of our home. So whether your curtains are clashing or you just want a fresh look, Gyrie's has the solutions for you. Their designers are the experts, and they can help you with everything from window treatments to full room decor. But here's the best part. They offer a personalized in-home consultation. They'll come directly to you. They bring samples, paint samples, blind samples. Then they bring lasers and measure everything, which is just super cool. So you can get the same expert advice right in your home as we got in ours. Do yourself a favor. Get started today. Visit Gyrie's.com to schedule your in-home consultation. That's Gyrie's, G-U-I-R-Y-S.com, G-U-I-R-Y-S.com. Go see the great people at Gyrie's. You'll be sure to thank me. We'll continue, and we're going to talk Jasmine Crockett next. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
This is the perfect soundtrack for a country that's about to jump off the cliff with the Jeffrey Epstein files. Woohoo! You got donations from Jeffrey. You got donations from Jeffrey. You all got donations from Jeffrey. Well, maybe not. This could be symptomatic of what's going to be coming. Here's Jasmine Crockett on the floor of the House of Representatives yesterday.
Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Except in Lee Zeldin's case, it's not Jeffrey Epstein. That Jeffrey Epstein, it's Dr. Jeffrey Epstein. No relationship whatsoever to the disgraced financier. So if they're FEC filings, those weren't secret. You didn't need the Epstein files to be released to see those. You just go type those in any time right now. So Jasmine Crockett not doing her homework, but happy to take the machine gun of blame and ridicule out to the floor of the House of Representatives. You all took Jeffrey Epstein money. No, maybe not. We'll have to see about Mitt Romney and the rest of them. But this is what's got. Now, she was on CNN yesterday and called out on it and doesn't apologize at all. But here she is.
Democrat who's been on defense over Jeffrey Epstein is Stacey Plaskett. She represents the Virgin Islands. She was texting with Jeffrey Epstein the day of Michael Cohen's hearing. Her questions pretty closely followed the text messages between the two of them to ask about Rona Graff, Trump's longtime assistant. You were defending her today, or in recent days, yesterday, and you talked about Republicans taking money from a Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what you said.
Who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio.
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that...
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein, just so that people understand when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen, because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled, and that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies. Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. Now, have I dug in to find out who this doctor is? I have not. So I will trust and take what he says, is that it wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein, but I was not attempting to mislead anybody. I literally had maybe 20 minutes before I had to do that debate.
Yeah, but people might see that and say, well, you're trying to make it sound like he took money from
I did not know.
A registered sex offender.
No, but I literally did not know. When you search FEC files, and that's what I had my team to do, I texted them and I said, listen, we're going up. They are saying that she took donations.
Right, but someone might say, well, your team should have done the homework to make sure it wasn't the convicted sex trafficker.
Within 20 minutes, you could not find that out, not from just doing a quick search on FEC. So, number one, I made sure that I was clear that it was a Jeffrey Epstein, but I never said that it was specifically that Jeffrey Epstein, because I knew that we would need more time to really dig in.
Golly!
Yeah, I don't know about that.
The ignorance there, the unprepared. It's classic politician just walking into a statement and just shooting off her mouth and not having the facts built up to be able to sustain it. And she might get away from a civil lawsuit on the word A.
Oh, yeah, she will. And that is the lawyer thing, is that at the beginning of the first clip you played, you did hear her say, take from a Jeffrey Epstein. However, I would say that the rest of the words draw an implication to the Jeffrey Epstein, as if that is the person that is making the donations. And if what she was saying to Caitlin Collins is true, I would have guessed that several of her paragraphs would be crafted differently, that somewhere in that screed, she would say, we don't know if this is the, child abuser, human trafficker, Jeffrey Epstein, but this name appears on lists. Do we know, blah, 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 and keep going. That type of an idea. These are questions we have to ask about. The other part is, I don't think that it is necessarily an excuse for her to say, we only had 20 minutes before we had to do this and get on the floor. And I think at that point, if you only have 20 minutes and you can't, with reasonable ability, verify some of these facts, maybe you don't do it. And that comes from the news side of me, that if you have a story that you think is 80% true, you still don't go to air and you still don't publish. Until you know that what you've got is solid, you don't do it. And it has to wait for another day. I disagree with Jasmine Crockett that this information was so prescient that it had to be spoken of that day, that hour, that any of this couldn't come out 24 or 48 hours later during another debate, another press conference, another event. I don't buy her excuse that because they only had 20 minutes, that's the reason they had such shoddy research. No, Jasmine, you would not walk into court if your team only had 20 minutes to look at an allegation and then present something as possibly true. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't put your law career and license at risk by doing something like that. So don't do it in the floor of the House.
Yeah, there's a few other things there, too. If it's FEC, that doesn't require a release from Congress signed by the president. That's searchable now. You can just go look at it right now. It always has been. And so if you want to go look at who's donating to particular campaigns, you can. Bill, there's a website called howmanyofme.site that you can look up how many people have your name.
Oh,
okay,
nice.
so I put in Jeffrey Epstein. 60,948 people in America. It just gets even more interesting. You ready?
Yeah.
44,000 of them are men. There's 16,805 women named Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow. That's interesting.
16,000, at least according to this website.
That's interesting.
And then it gets even more interesting, year-wise usages. So they track since 2014 the name Jeffrey Epstein and its use in, I guess, maybe new births. And it has completely plummeted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But just in Colorado alone, there's 17 Jeffrey Epsteins here. So I bring this up because you're going to see a lot of this. America is caught up in a frenzy right now.
Yeah.
Right? And the Jeffrey Epstein, who's been around for 25 years or whatever, since he's been first convicted, has now become a political dark matter. So anybody, anywhere close, he's like the center of gravity out there in the universe. Any email correspondence you ever had with him where you showed up at the same event is now going to be used against you in the political world. Even to the point where if your name is Jeffrey Epstein, but you're not actually Jeffrey Epstein, your political opponents are going to be drug out and shouted down for that. So get ready. It's going to be a rodeo.
That's going to be crazy. This is going to be crazy.
All right, let's talk L&L heating and air conditioning. You've heard me say it before, when it comes to keeping your home comfortable, who you trust matters. That's why I recommend my friends at L&L Heating and Air Conditioning, a local family-owned company that truly cares about your comfort. Every morning I wake up, Bill, in a warm house, I thank L&L. Like, it goes in my head.
Oh, that's
I'm
nice.
like, I love L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. I have a nice warm house I get to wake up into. Because at one point, our furnace and AC had gone out. So we had all those like little space heaters everywhere to try to keep our house warm. And the fact it just all works so well right now. I love L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. They're offering a full furnace system evaluation for just $59.95 and a complimentary second opinion if you've already got a quote from someone else. And when you install a new furnace or AC, you'll get a free programmable thermostat or carbon monoxide detector, plus no hidden charges, no trip fees, and next-day installations. Their Gold Plan maintenance helps keep your system running efficiently year-round, and you'll even get 1 year free if you get a new furnace or AC combo. I love that L&L gives back as well, offering discounts for first responders, military, and seniors, and treating every customer like family. So if your home's too hot or too cold, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning because, as they like to say, you'll be comfortable with us. Bill, I tried some of those bigger corporate ones.
Yeah.
Just not the personal attention we got with L&L.
No,
I
just a
actually
number with
sat
them.
in the office with the owners of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. They're local people. This isn't some corporation far away. Visit bestdenverhvac.com, bestdenverhvac.com. We've got Bill Thorpe's You Choose the News coming up. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Billy, let's continue the frivolity of Jasmine Crockett's just randomly naming other Jeffrey Epsteins with You Choose the News.
Yeah, speaking of weird people saying weird things and doing a lot of weird stuff, it is time for America's favorite fake radio news game show. It's You Choose the News. I have spent moments this morning scouring the interwebs to find really, really dumb stories about us humans and then slapped on more ridiculous headlines to play this fake radio news game show with y'all. Why would Jeff and Bill take valuable KNUS airtime and do this at 6:50 in the morning? Because those in charge are not awake. When we are left unsupervised, Jeff and I will try to break as many rules as possible while still finding a partner in crime. Fall guy. A good friend that's going to help us out. Yeah, that's how we refer to Blake Olson. He's joining us from the news department. Jeff is still here in the studio. Gentlemen, here are your questionable choices of headlines today. Headline number 1, Christmas is canceled. Headline number 2, follow your kids' dreams. Headline number 3, the wheels keep on turning. And headline number 4, shrinkflation strikes back. Mr. Hunt, your choice.
Let's start with Christmas is canceled.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
God, kids, I hate to tell you this. Well, actually, kids, you're going to be fine. Adults, Christmas is canceled. Yes, this year, a guest recently on Fox News advised viewers, don't buy any gifts for adults as a means of cost-cutting during what is expected to be a very expensive holiday season. Yes, Jade Warshaw urged shoppers to budget, and budget some more. Then encourage people, remember, the adults in your life do not need gifts. Focus on the people in your life who are age 3 to 18. Grandma doesn't need slippers. They don't need, if they live by you, don't even get them a gift at all. Now, Jade Warshaw is a co-host of the Ramsey Show, Possible Personal Finance, focused radio program, and obviously disowned by her family by the end of the interview. Now, holiday season spending is forecasted to grow at a solid pace, but a lot of consumers are saying their budget is going to be a little more tighter this year. But according to Jade, screw them. Friends and family, you get nothing. So, yeah, Christmas is canceled. I'm just saying, it takes a lot of stress off you. Yeah, just saying, a lot of stress. Don't have to worry about it. Okay.
That's right.
Blake, follow your kids' dreams, wheels keep on turning, or shrinkflation strikes back.
Oh, wheels keep on turning. Round and round the bend.
Here we go. Now, wheels keep on turning. Now, last year, you may have seen the AI slop that was Coca-Cola's holiday ad. Well, this year, it's supposed to be different. They have dropped their animated holidays are coming ad, and well, so much for that. This one sucks, too. And they're facing a lot of backlash. If you haven't seen it, go Google Coke's AI Holidays Are Coming, because the AI has absolutely no ideas how many wheels are on a semi-truck. Yeah, that's the problem. The maker of the ad is an LA-based AI studio, and they were prepared for some of the blowback. They said, but hey, we had 20 people doing a lot of hand-drawing character designs that went into this, and we did creative world building, but none of us seemed to watch the ad afterwards and see that the number of wheels on the semi-truck changes randomly. In fact, some of the wheel designs aren't even physically possible to make a truck that moves. So, yes, it is a fun game, kids. The rest of the ad is absolute and complete slop.
Who notices this?
Here's the problem.
I guess it's got to be truckers, right? Barney noticed it?
I noticed it immediately because I'm an idiot. Oh, yeah, because here's the thing, though, is there has to be somebody, when you're doing an AI ad, there has to be someone responsible to, count the fingers and the legs on people or humans and animals and stuff, and whether or not they have enough heads, and then maybe how many wheels are on the truck. Does this comport to reality? I think that's it. What was it? We had, Will Smith a number of months ago. We did it on You Choose the News, where he posted a crowd video of people being so excited to see him. And that was all AI, because people noticed that people's heads were disappearing, and people had too many fingers, and one woman had an arm coming out of the back of her shoulder. So, yeah, she had too many arms. Those things.
You're right. It is weird. It stands out. Yeah. It doesn't look right.
No, it doesn't. Right. And there's one.
And they let this go?
Yes, they did. They let it go. That's the crazy part. There's one in the side where you see the side view of the truck, and it's only for about a second and a half.
It's like five wheels.
Yes, it's obviously it doesn't work. And you're like, how does this even possible? So I just don't know what to say. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Okay, Jeff, your choice, sir. Follow your kids' dreams, or shrinkflation strikes back.
Shrinkflation.
Yeah, shrinkflation is striking back. Panera Bread began shrinking their sandwiches, skimping on the salads, cutting back on labor costs, and surprise, surprise, your customers also shrunk. They went away. Now to win them back, the chain plans to reinvest in businesses to undo many of those same cost-cutting measures. Notice I said cost-cutting, not price-cutting. Yeah, you know how this works, kids. Okay, they used to be the #1 fast casual brand find in America.
Too
Now they've gone-
expensive.
Yep, they're now down to number 3. Last year's sales fell 5%. Chipotle and Panda Express have overtaken them, but everybody in the fast casual space is facing some challenges. So they have a strategy called Panera Rise because, all strategies and rebranding don't work unless you have a cool name. It's like
just
a
go
rule.
to the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
It's better.
Oh, absolutely.
It's more affordable.
Yeah. But they're reversing it. They're doing more. They're adding more of the lettuce back in that's romaine, not iceberg. They're cutting up the tomatoes for you, stuff like that. Then they think people are
Everybody
going to come
knows
back.
how to make sourdough now also.
Yeah, I know. Thank you so
All
much.
right, Democrats are fighting. We're going to talk about it next. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
KNUS.